Father Medina used to start mass early if the church was full.
If it was full.
Okay, we're going to call a meeting to order. It is Tuesday, August 31st, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
Okay. Minutes and reports received and filed, John.
There is none this week.
Commissioner Committee Liaison reports, upcoming meetings, events.
Let's see, I think, well, we have Cook County Communities meeting Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Broadband Task Force meeting Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
Got the Mosoy launch party on my calendar from somewhere. I'm not sure where that came from, but that's Thursday afternoon as
The
well.
what?
Mosoy, Missouri soybeans.
Ah.
You look up if you need some information on it. Eastside Business Association Friday morning. And then we got Labor Day coming up, so. Last chance for picnics Sunday. Mary's home, Freebird, road trip, Jeep trip.
This evening is Centertown Board of Trustees meeting. Tomorrow, Debbie and I are meeting with Wall Street, right? Talk about health insurance experience for the year. Thursday, I'm going to meet with Luke Holtz-Snyder and Missy Bono of the Jeff City Economic Partnership. Luke is the new director. The broadband that Jeff mentioned on Thursday afternoon. And then on Friday, I've been invited by RACS to do a tour. Sue English and Angela Hirsch of RACS has asked me to tour their facility.
Yep, I've got all that too. The only other thing I have is Sunday Operation Bugle Boy is doing their Patriot Sunday chicken dinner for all first responders. American Legion from 4 to 7 p.m. You do have to have tickets, which you can get at Legends Bank. So I sent that to our sheriff and to EMS, and if you could maybe get that out to our volunteer fire departments, Bill. But other than that, yep, then it's Labor Day. Okay, commission comments. Bids and contracts. Approval and signing of Vawa Violence Against Women's Act grant. It's hard to believe it's been a year already.
It's been 2 years, if you can believe it or not. Yeah, so I know. I'm as shocked as you. It's been 2 years. So 2 years ago, as the commission knows, I'm Miranda Lesh on behalf of the prosecutor's office. 2 years ago, I approached the commission with a wonderful opportunity, and that was to apply for the first time the Violence Against Women's Act grant, VAWA. We applied, and it was to fund 75% of one person's salary with the promise of bringing in a new position. We applied, we were lucky enough to obtain that grant, and so 2 years later, here we are. I'm approaching the commission to review and sign a couple of documents that will enable us to reapply to continue that grant. At this step in the process, this is not, they haven't approved us, this is just to apply and see kind of how much funding opportunity will be available to us. I had hoped I would be a little farther along in the reapplication process. It's not due until the 15th. I do not have the reapplication to submit to you today, but I do have the documents necessary to review and sign. If the commission would like to see that reapplication in its final form, I can get that to you. I would just ask that you put me on the next commission meeting. Otherwise, the signatures required, the first one is the guaranteed that consultation with victim services occurred. So on Thursday of last week from 3 until 4:30, I actually went to RACS. It's very beautiful. You will enjoy the tour. They have done absolutely wonderful things with that facility. But I went to RACS. Angela and I discussed kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you will, of the last grant, ways to improve and continue serving the citizens of Cole County and protecting domestic victims. So that was the prosecutor's consultation with victim services. There was discussions of, what we did well. We created the domestic violence response team under the previous grant, which kind of got all the players who deal with domestic violence. We meet once every 2 months to discuss kind of new trends in the community, ways to continue improving serving victims of domestic violence. So that was a really good plus from the grant in addition to the prosecutor. So that is one signature that is required. The other, and I have a copy, I have one copy for everyone. It's an electronic signature. So Sam, what we did last time is I had you sign and then kind of give me permission to go ahead and fill that electronically out.
And this is just to apply.
This is 100% just to apply. And again, it's to continue the grant, so continue funding 75% of a prosecutor's salary. We did have the spot. We were fully staffed for about 2 weeks before we had some recent vacancies within the office. So we're currently down about 2 prosecutors. But yeah, this is just to continue funding.
Okay.
The next 2 signatures are linked in that it's certified assurances, which this is 14 pages. I will not read everything to you, but it covers everything from promising we won't conduct human trafficking to lobbying and kind of your general provisions covered under grants. And so those are 2 signatures. I just need 1 signature, Sam. I just need yours, but
Okay.
I do have a copy for everyone. And on the 14 pages of assurances, there needs to be an initial at the bottom. And again, same thing with this. It's an electronic signature. So what we did last time is I had you sign it with the permission to fill out your electronic signature, and then I provided you a copy of that.
Okay.
So, here are all of those.
Miranda, question.
Yes, ma'am.
Just for them to look over, the next week you're gonna bring me the documents for Sam to sign?
Whatever the commission wants. If you want to see the full reapplication, look it all over, we can absolutely do that. Set me up next week. Again, it's not due until the 15th. So
Right,
if,
I'm just asking because in order for Sam to sign that, they'll have to vote.
okay, perfect.
Okay,
Then
so-
let's do that. That works for
Okay.
the commission.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Any comments, questions, concerns?
No, it's just hard to believe.
I know, 2 years.
Yeah.
I know, tell me about it. Feels like yesterday. All right, well, thank you
Okay,
very much
thank
for your
you.
time.
Thanks.
Okay. Christie, signing of the emergency preparedness contract with MODHSS.
You want these copies back?
No, you may keep those
Okay.
copies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is time for the annual renew of our public health emergency preparedness contract. This contract pays for more than half of Chris White's salary, our emergency planner, and a small portion of Chesney's salary to do epidemiological case investigations. There is no increase in the dollar amount from last year. Just checking to see if you had to sign that one page, but you don't. So I would ask that you approve this contract.
Yes. Yeah, motion, yeah.
I'll offer a motion to sign the program services contract with Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, signing of MOU with State of Missouri for processing birth and death certificates.
This is just the annual renewal of our memorandum of understanding that we have access to the state's database for birth and death certificates, so we can print those for citizens. This year we have had quite an increase in processing those. The state office has been closed and it's by appointment only, and they had very limited hours. So Kristen, we were going over the budget the other day, and it has increased by, I forgot how much. I want to say it's almost 30,000 more than what it usually is, because we're processing so many more birth and death certificates. So,
How many?
well, I mean, they're $10 and $15 a piece, but our budget, like the revenue we brought in increased by $30,000 this year because of the amount of birth and death certificates. Every time we hit the their system, they charge us like 0.24 cents. Anyway, we charge.
Okay. I thought it was 30,000 births and death certificates there for a second.
No.
But 30,000 is still pretty
No, we do
good.
a lot, but the revenue has increased by about $30,000.
Yeah, that's-
So I would ask that you sign this MOU, and it's
That's
on page
amazing.
3.
Hey, talking about whoever you're closest to.
Yeah, if you were sitting
If we're
over
getting
here.
money, I like to do them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a motion to sign the MOU between the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services and the Cole County Health Department regarding birth certificates, death certificates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're gonna shift around a little bit because I want to get the library out of here. Discussion? I don't mean it that way, but I know
Sound good.
you're so busy that you've got, so we're gonna do discussion of parking lot with the Missouri River Regional Library. Claudia Cook, if you
Yes,
would
good morning,
come up
everyone.
here.
I'm the director of Missouri River Regional Library, and I brought my assistant director, Betty Hagenhoff, and library board member Anita Randolph. She chairs our Capital Facilities Committee. And we are trying to be proactive about parking. We all know parking is an issue downtown, and we are grateful to rent the parking lot next to our former building, 209 Adams. And we know at some point those 30 spots we rent from you will probably not be available because you will need them. And with that in mind, we have been talking a lot about parking potential in this area. And to that end, I contacted the Housing Authority. And because I'm interested, we, the library, are interested in 410 and 15, Betty? 410 and 15 adjacent to that lot, and we were told that you were also interested in it. And the reason I want to approach you this morning is for a potential partnership with that location in mind. Apparently, it is still owned by Mrs. Busher, and it's a Phase 4 a level for this city. And I know you understand those phases better than I do. I've had quite an education speaking with Amy Van Overschelde. She's educated me on the process of obtaining Mrs. Bush's properties. And so she said that it's further down their list, but it's not impossible. And if she knew entities were available, their board might be able to move it up. And I was told last week that part of it is crumbling in the back, and the city thinks they may have to do something sooner rather than later. I'm also here to tell you that the library intends to expand, and we hope to expand in the coming years. And we're committed to this downtown area. We're an anchor, and we've been working with architects and have a plan to build a third floor and build out. And we're embarking on a capital campaign soon. And as our neighbors, and because we serve the county, we wanted you to know. And I felt it was time to do that. And our parking needs are only going to grow. And that we already don't have a really adequate enough parking for the people who want to use the library. And if we expand our current location, that problem will only increase. So I did reach out to the chamber president, and he said they'd think about it, but the times they meet, they do not have a lot of complaints about parking issues. But I know we both do, and we see you, the library board sees you as a potential partner. And so, Betty and Anita, did I miss anything? Okay. So that's my question. I know you can't make up your mind today, but the one thing that Amy Van Overschelde said to me is when sometimes it's not out of the realm of possibility for the housing authority to acquire a property, and if there's an interested local entity, they could give it to that entity for maybe,
You
a
pay a
dollar or
nominal-
something.
you pay a
Yeah,
nominal
yeah,
fee.
a nominal fee.
Yeah.
And it's in the best interest of those parties that are interested to be working together. Otherwise, it'll have to go to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was an attractive, but, obviously there'd be a lot of money involved in leveling those lots anyway, but if we could work together and maybe be the beneficiary of something like that, I think it would be mutually beneficial. So I just want to put that bug in your ear, and I know you'll have to think and talk about it, and I understand that. But like I said, the board is committed to this area. We've talked about a variety of things over the years, and we have just frankly outgrown our space. When we lost the annex and chose to leave, we chose to leave because we had a landlord who said they couldn't fix the problems, and we didn't want to tackle that. We moved 17 people back into our building and took more public space away. We have 5 people in the building across the street, our administrative team, and we have 4 critical issues that we have to address, whether we're able to really do this expansion or not, and that includes our elevators and bathrooms that barely meet ADA and are small and people get stuck in them in wheelchairs. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's really unpleasant. And then we have cast iron pipes that we're already having trouble with, and we have a technology infrastructure that's maxed out. And so when we have to address those no matter what, but when we do, we'd like to do more than that. And because if we address them in our current facility, we'll just take more space away. And as I said, we have a vision, and we intend to try to sell that. And it's going to be so great, we're going to need a lot of parking.
And we have been talking to the housing authority, so.
Yeah, they
And
told
I
me.
think what we would probably do with that, we want to keep, our footprint keeps growing, here. So we're looking at just for future, but in the meantime, it probably would just be a parking lot, which we could, we can work with you on that.
Yeah.
So,
I also failed to say that even before any of this takes place, I've looked at the parking lot on Jackson Street that belongs to the funeral home, or what goes with the funeral home. It belongs to the city. Because I'd like to move staff parking elsewhere to create more patron parking, even while we're renting from you. And so we're talking about that in the interim. They don't know how much it'll cost. They have, they're trying to collect bids because it needs work. And they said it's not a for sale situation because their hope is to keep it with the funeral home. And, but that's kind of an interim thing because obviously acquiring 410 and 415 is going to be a long process. But if the sooner we start, the sooner it, can happen. So
I think it'd be great to,
work
we'll
together.
rent you spaces forever and ever. If you get the funeral home parking, you're gonna have to have those bird scooters. That's a long.
I love those bird scooters.
Yeah.
And I got the bill the other day and it didn't even make me unhappy. I had so much fun. Well, okay, so what I'm hearing from you is that you would be interested in working in, because we have reserve funds that we'd like to obviously put towards a parking lot leveling and, everything that it takes to make a parking lot out of those.
Yeah, and that's what our plan is. Sometime in the future, we might want to build if we ever, hit the lottery or something, build a new multi-story justice center or something. But yeah, I don't think, at this time, we don't have the money, so.
Right. Well, and our hope is to, to own half of it, not rent all of it. I mean, obviously, if we have to rent some of it, but the new part, that we would own that, half of it anyway.
So you would help us excavate it and?
Yes.
Okay.
Not speaking out of turn right now. No, that's our plan. We would help with all of that.
Well, thank you for sharing what your future plans might be.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard the growth up,
Yeah.
right?
And out.
The-
It was,
the third
yes,
floor?
that building was built in phases in the late 60s, well, early 70s, early 70s, but the tax levy was voted in 66, and they collected the money beforehand, and they intended to build a third floor the whole time. But when, after they collected the money first, the cost had gone up, and so they couldn't afford to build a third floor. And they built what they could afford. So for all this time, it really was never built the way it was envisioned. And so my hope is we hope, all of us do at the library and the board, that we can help it fulfill its original destiny and be a destination place. There's so much going on downtown with the bridge and the prison redevelopment, and we just want to be part of this progressive period in Jefferson City. And we did have an article in the paper back in April, but if you're like me, sometimes you miss things or you miss weeks. And there was a very nice article about it, but for the most part, we've been somewhat quiet until now, and we, the board has sanctioned for us to move forward with this capital campaign. We want to raise $2.5 million to match our $2.5 million in reserves, and so we'll see how we.
Neighbor downtown. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of the heart. So I know
Yeah.
I said on a focus group years ago where you were going to go out west and all this
Right.
other stuff.
No.
You need to be here.
We've talked it to death,
Yeah.
and we, I can assure you, and we have come back full circle to being fully committed to this area, and so this is where we want to be and need to be. So,
I agree. Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening.
So it's 410 Dancer's Alley?
No.
415.
no.
I think it.
415 is the way, commercial way. 410 is Capitol Avenue.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
One of Ms. Dancer's alley, I believe, though.
Yeah.
The old
Well, I found a 415, and then that was on the back, so I thought it might be 415 rear Capitol or something, so that's gotta get interesting.
Yeah.
So 415 Capitol, 410 Capitol, and then 415
Commercial.
Commercial. Yeah.
So is 410 right in front of it? So it looks
Yeah,
like
that's the
410
one
and
that sits up
416.
on the,
on the hill.
yeah.
They said last week that they're considering it a hazard. Maybe you already been informed that it.
Yeah, 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 it's,
Well, we're
but-
trying to keep it secret that we wanted it.
yeah.
Apparently that didn't work very damn good.
Well, but if
Now
we
everybody's
can,
gonna come in there and bid it up for us.
well, no, not, because we're gonna have the library with us too, so they're all gonna feel,
Oh, now we
us,
got
they
extra-
don't care, but library,
money now.
it's, they're nice people, so.
It should have been a closed session if we were gonna talk about this, contract negotiations, so. Well, secret's out.
we are.
Yeah,
You can find us.
yeah,
Not talk about it.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, yes.
Okay. Now we will go back to unfinished business. Discussion of 2021-19 Carnegie Building steps.
I sent you guys the letter that we received from All Seasons Landscaping. Just didn't really know what direction you guys wanted to take with it. And then Patrick is here because Eric had talked to him about a couple things with the Carnegie Building and some just options that we could do over there.
I'm looking at the letter that Chris sent us, received this as a registered letter,
Certified mail.
certified mail. And, but at the end, he says, therefore, I believe that the county commission should terminate and otherwise sever our proposed relationship. So, to me, that's pretty clear.
Well, I don't think we should. I mean, I think we go ahead and we do the contract up and make amendment to it for the 14 days that we drug our feet on this stuff, requiring stuff that was not required before. So I think we do it, we change the date to reflect the 14 days of difference, and then we send it to him, and if he wants to sever the ties, then we can sever the ties there. So otherwise, this is gonna cost us more money and more time, and we're just acting like the feds or state doing stuff. So it wouldn't make sense at all.
We did not drag our feet, Jeff. The feet dragging was by the vendor, the bidder.
He gave us his information in time. We had it in time. We could have had a meeting Thursday or Friday and approved it all and done it then and had it within the 10 days.
The same day that he complied, and by the way, he really never complied. It was benefit of Larry Vincent, the collector, who contacted Revenue to get the tax clearance letter. The same day that that was received is the same day Chris said, I want out of the contract.
Because we didn't have a contract that day, which in there it says 10 days to get him the information.
No, it does not. What it says is he's got 10 days after we give him the contract, he's got 10 days to execute it. The contract.
This letter is moot, so we might as well sign this contract and proceed with it.
The contract also has a provision, paragraph 15, compliance with applicable law. The contractor must agree to comply with all federal, state, and local laws, ordinances, and all applicable rules, regulations, and standards established by an agency of such governmental units, on and on.
So does it say he's not? Where does it say he's not complying right now? We got the letter.
We couldn't give him a contract until about the 24th or 25th.
We had the letter.
24th.
At the collector's office. You just said the collector's office had the letter.
It's on the 24th.
On 24th, we could have done it on 24th then.
24th, he mailed us a letter that said he wanted out.
27th, but Sam can't be here on Thursdays or Fridays because it's bridal season, so.
No, I could have been here and we could have done it early, but this letter that he sent us certified is dated August 24th. And he says, as a result of this delay, I am placed in a position that jeopardizes my ability to perform the services on time and within budget. Therefore, I believe County Commission should terminate and otherwise sever our proposed relationship. So to me, he's basically saying he wants out of the contract.
Well, send him the contract.
So-
If he refuses to sign it, give him an essence of, or time is of the essence date to sign it by, and then otherwise, do you remember what the bids were? You're gonna be paying more money. You want to spend more money?
Well,
That's fine.
Patrick has
Spend more tax money, that's fine.
a
Eric's
new,
been working with Patrick on some other things with the concrete over in the Carnegie building, and so
Well, that's part of the driveway stuff. We can do that whenever. Doesn't have to be part of this. You're still gonna cost more. That on top of the $30,000 or $40,000 more than what the other bids were. And we don't know when people are gonna be available. You've already sent letters out to them and said, this has been awarded, go on with yourself and schedule other things. So, in essence, we're just spending taxpayers' money here and doing it stupidly, so.
So-
If y'all are saying no, then y'all go ahead and do it. We can argue all day.
well, I was, hoping if Chris came up, I was gonna say, do you want the job or do you not want the job?
But you never
And we
invited
could
him.
just,
I emailed, said, do y'all want to invite him? Where are we at on this? He said, well, it's on the agenda Tuesday.
it's
You
a
could have
public,
invited
they're
him.
public meetings.
We'll invite him up here and see if he wants to do it. A lot of this could have been taken care of with a phone call 2 weeks ago. We wouldn't be in this position. All you had to do is make a phone call and say, hey, we found something in here at the state office. We've never done this before. We found it. We got a question. Let's take care of it. Because I don't know if it said what the deal was, but we got the letter now. So apparently everything's in order.
Do you want to hear the other option that they were talking
No.
about?
If we're gonna reject this, reject it and be done with it. I don't give a care about the other option. It's ridiculous. We're gonna be spending more money, and where this came up with, merchant's license, we never required a merchant's license before. I mean, are we gonna check these other guys and see if they have outstanding parking tickets? How far are we gonna go? So, that's breaking the law.
I think it was
That's
more
a law.
Department of Revenue where he
Department
was,
of Revenue,
he was
Department of Parking.
delinquent.
It's the same thing. If you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law.
You want to talk about breaking the law? A commissioner who served for 8 years, and for those 8 years he served, he never had a merchant's license?
Is that breaking the law?
Well, absolutely.
Well, then I guess let them go after him.
Maybe
It has nothing to do with the merchant's law.
he failed to comply with all local and state laws. He finally complied. He
Sue
went,
him.
he went and bought a merchant license the day after we said you don't have
Sue
one.
him.
I'm not worried about suing.
Have somebody go after him then if he's breaking the law.
You want to sign a contract with someone who doesn't want to do business with the county? He's put us in a letter to us.
He's got a merchant's license now. You said you need to comply with this stuff, so now he's got
But
it.
He
I'm
also
going by
said-
his certified letter. I mean, we can sit here and argue all day. His
We
certified
do business
letter,
with people being investigated by the FBI too for threatening our employees.
His
So,
certified letter
How far down this
says,
rabbit hole you want to go?
therefore, I believe the county commission shall terminate and otherwise sever our proposed relationship. That's what I'm ready to do if,
Okay, just remember that then. You gotta check for parking tickets and see if they're being investigated by the FBI. Let's go the whole damn 9 yards, boys. So, we need to put that into contracts the next time too. So, do what y'all wanna do with it. It sounds like I'm outvoted, so.
I'll make a motion to, for the presiding commissioner to send a letter to Chris Shepperly, president of All Seasons Landscaping and Construction, Inc., acknowledging his letter whereby he stated that the county commission should terminate and otherwise sever our proposed relationship. Pursuant to his request, we accept his letter and terminate and otherwise sever our proposed relationship with this contract.
and I second. Any other discussion?
Oh, we could be here all day.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Opposed? Okay.
So where do you want this project to go? So the next lowest bidder, or you want to listen to an option about maybe changing the scope of the project?
I think that we should reject the other bids, and we should back off. Eric has looked at the territory, the area. He's indicated and worked with Patrick from CMPS, I'm sorry, that there's a certain amount of other concrete work that ought to be done. If it were combined with this concrete work, it would be a savings. And you want to visit, speak on that,
Yeah.
Patrick?
Correct. So I think back in 2019, actually, there was some scheduled work to be done around the Carnegie building. I think it was all supposed to be done within a mill and overlay project with Higgins Asphalt. For whatever reason, that project got extended out timeframe wise and ended up not getting done. A lot of the work has to do with drainage around the Carnegie building, trying to get positive drainage away from the building, just general improvements, adding some curb and gutter and some entrance work around the rear entrance, maybe with some sidewalks and things. We did pick up some of that work with the Carnegie Step project and the ADA improvements because it was kind of in the same general vicinity of the area we were working on. The remainder of it we just left off, and Eric was going to include that in the overlay projects in the future whenever we got to that portion. When these bids came in as they did, and everything played out as it has, I'd refer back to the second lowest bidder, that was FERCon Construction. They were 40% higher than engineers' estimate. So in my opinion, that's not a good thing to do, to pay 40% over what we expected the costs to be. And even at that, one of FERCon's bid items was left off out of his bid. So it's really not the full cost, and his bid was kind of incomplete. So I wouldn't recommend going with that, even though he's a capable contractor to do that work. As Harry said, we've got additional work around the property. I've discussed that with Eric. We have the opportunity to kind of expand that work, to not do it all in asphalt, but do a more bulk of it in concrete work, so it would fit with the project that we have, the ADA handrail and our ADA entrance and step replacement project. That work would kind of blend in with this work. We'd do more of that work in concrete. It would be easier to construct because getting drainage right with concrete work's a lot easier than trying to do that with asphalt work. So I think all in all, doing all this work together would be an advantage for the county. You'd get a better price because you could combine those projects together if you were going to do them in the future anyway. So, and that would be my recommendation.
And I think with the public defender, adding more offices there too, having an ADA, I think that's really pretty important. So.
Yeah.
So then we need to move on it and continue this project and add them as either change orders or addendums, because we need to get them steps fixed over there. And the next better bid was 38,000, and you said it was not complete, so then the next one is 58,000 more. So now we're just gonna keep pushing stuff down the road, and I don't think our bids are gonna get any better. Cause nobody's getting any slower right now, nothing is slowed down, materials aren't any cheaper, so I think we're only fooling ourselves to get it for what the engineer's estimate was, or even close.
There's some other things I think that play into that. I believe you guys have some work going on in the basement of the Carnegie building. So if you're, for a time period, and we all know how the courthouse project went, where we moved forward with the project prior to, I think, in the fall, and then that project kind of sat there for a while. Entrances were closed for long periods of time. If we would try to do a project now at the Carnegie building, and they've only got a few months to do it, if they can't get that done, we may be left in the same situation where you're trying to access, public access through an area where you're working, and, how conducive is that to getting any kind of work done, and having public moving in and out of the same entrance and things like that. And then same thing, we're pushing the time frame. If we try to get a new contractor in here, trying to get them to mobilize, get all the products and things they need to be able to do the project, then, are we gonna be left in a situation where it's next spring again, where we have this thing closed? So it's
As opposed to starting next spring and doing it,
yeah.
you're gonna run into the same thing. They're not digging into the
Well, you
ground
could-
and running into a underground cell and different things, and there's better time frames lined up to hold them more accountable for it, so.
We could bid the project later this winter or December, whenever we get this portion of it designed, and.
But that's to my point, is we're putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Them steps have been like that for a long time. So here we are again, just putting it off.
But you could get products ordered and things like that, and have all that ready to go in the springtime and off and running, so.
I don't know, seemed to have 4 bidders that thought that we could get it done in this time frame. So. I don't disagree with that, gives you time to line things up better. And to have it all, say we want it done in the shortest amount of time, I agree with that 100%. But we gotta get this done. I mean, it's just like your projects at home, you keep putting it off and keep putting it off, and then finally you go out and hire somebody else just to do it for you and get it done. So. I don't know, I hate pushing it down the road any farther than we have to, and I hate paying any more than we have to. I don't have the answer for it though right now, Bill, get somebody in here.
Yeah, I
to
don't
get it done
either,
right
so.
now.
So what kind of direction do we want to give Patrick?
I'm going to rely upon Eric, our engineer, and Patrick and your crew to come up with a proposal or whatever the designation is here to do the additional concrete work. And Eric has indicated that even if we'd have gone on with what we had in front of us before, there was some question about the delivery of the handrails and other things that, and the successful bidder said that this 10-day delay or whatever, which he accused us of causing, when he in fact caused it himself, that would make it very difficult for him to finish it. Was it November 30? What was
November 30th.
the number? As a result of this delay, I'm placed in a position that jeopardizes my ability to perform the services on time and within budget. So I'll accept him at his word on that 10 days made it difficult to get it done by November 30. So I
Every
think,
day makes it difficult that you take away from somebody. Everybody's busy right now, so.
especially when you take it away from yourself, that's when it really
He
hurts.
didn't take it away from himself. We were requiring things that weren't required. Was there any charges against him for breaking the law or somewhere? I mean, apparently didn't have some kind of paperwork.
No,
in
he
for
just
him, and he's
needed
got
it
the
to be-
paperwork now, and just like the merchant's license. It has nothing to do with us. If he's breaking the law, is he being charged? So, how far do you wanna go down that rabbit hole? Like I said,
I'm just going by his letter.
What direction should we go with this? Let's not.
I would let Eric and Patrick,
Well, if you're not.
if you're gonna do it, you gotta
You need to
reject the
Are we,
bids.
are we starting from scratch? Do you want to just reject all of them? Or
yeah, I
are
think
we-
so.
Then are we going to include the work down in the basement of the Carnegie building with it? Or we're gonna include the work in Adams Street with it?
Well, we're working on the design build, or I'm working on the RFP for the Carnegie basement
Boston.
and the Adam Street, but if, I mean,
That's a different, that's a
Yeah.
different
Okay.
project than this.
we have those two
Throw
together,
them all
so.
together, see if we can get a better price here.
We have to get the basement ready, the lower level ready for the public defenders now, soon. It's not something that we can wait on until next year, and by
No,
combining
no.
it with another project, that needs to be done now. And it is not so directly related to one another that it needs to be put together, I don't think.
No, I look at them as two different projects.
So I'd like to see us proceed with Eric's recommendations and work with CMPS to expand the original plan to include the additional concrete work, improve the drainage issues around there.
So we need to reject the other bids
Yeah.
first.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
And so then once Patrick and Eric get that figured out, do you want them to come back up here and present it to you guys? And then
Please.
we'll agree to put it out for bid and.
Please,
Yes.
yes.
So you need a motion to reject the other bids?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Is that enough direction?
Yep. What's your proposal?
Thank you.
okay.
Thanks. Sorry you had to watch mom and dad fight.
Do we have any other unfinished business before we go to new business? Okay, new business, accounts payable review. Okay, we did the library extension request, school zone lighting. This is out in Wardsville.
Eric couldn't be here, so
Oh,
he asked me
okay.
to. It's a supplemental agreement because MoDOT doesn't have the flashers for the school zone.
Yeah.
For the record.
And we-
For the record,
Yes.
okay, Eric couldn't be here. So he asked me to handle this. This is a supplemental agreement for a project out at Wardsfield School Safety, and that MoDOT didn't get the lights in time, so it's just extending the time period.
Yes, we've been in contact with the mayor, or, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, a motion to sign the supplemental agreement, Cole County Small Community Co-op project with the Village of Wardsville.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Approval of purchase from Hoist Direct.
This was the sole source that you guys approved the form, and so this is approval of the purchase for the crane and trolley and hoist from Public Works. So this is just the quote for $38,217 for them to purchase it through Hoist Direct.
Yeah, we had talked about that already.
Good.
Yes,
Make a motion, we sign the contract with Hoist Direct.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Discussion of Civic Plus app changes.
Okay. Civic Plus, our web program that we use, has made some changes to the mobile app. Last year when we had the redesign of our website,
Okay.
they recommended that we not upgrade at that time because Apple has made some changes to the way their app store works. And so, she suggested that we wait until this year to, look at upgrading our mobile app because they would have gotten their newest version done. So our current version of the mobile app will be sunsetted December 31st of this year. So we will need to either decide that we don't want a mobile app anymore or to upgrade to this new mobile app. And if we do decide not to continue with the mobile app, if we did later on decide to get a new one, it would cost us a lot more than just doing an upgrade right now. So this new app will be a truly native app that we will actually have a developer account ourselves, the county will. We'll be able to look at stats and downloads and things like that, which I have to ask them to get that information for me right now, and it's not always the easiest thing to do. This will be a truly native app that should be a lot more efficient and work a lot better. Right now, one of my pet peeves about the app that we have now is if you go to open it, you get this thing to sign in, and then you have to click off of it, and then it comes back, and you have to click off of it again. If you don't want to sign in, this new app won't have anything like that. Users will be able to go into the App Store, and they'll be able to just search Go Colmo, and it'll come up, and they download it. It'll be a lot more efficient. So I just want to recommend that the commission move forward with the upgrade to the new version of the app. And if you need to see a demo or something, Civic Plus is happy to do that. But it'll be similar to what we have now. The look and feel will just be a lot more efficient, work a lot better. And like I said, we'll be able to go in and see the stats and stuff. But this is all happening mainly because Apple has changed the rules a couple of times in the last 3 years or 3 or 4 years about their app development.
I'm fine.
Where Brian's weighed in on this, I suspect, or is he in the loop on this?
He doesn't really deal with the website stuff. That's
Okay.
still something that I've kind of spearheaded and been working on the whole time.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything with the website.
No,
That's
but you're
kinda my thing.
good, so I,
One of my hats.
yeah.
But budget-wise, this is no surprise kind of thing for us then, is that right, or?
We pay an annual maintenance to Civic Plus to help us with the website, to keep all the upgrades that they have.
Yeah.
This is just an additional part to it. I think, what is it?
Yeah.
3,800?
Well, the website maintenance is, it goes up 5% every year. This, we are paying right now for the mobile app, so what we paid in 2021, I did the calculation, and it was like 1908.04. We will be paying more for maintenance, $3,000 a year, but they've got that capped at $3,000, but with that 5% yearly increase every year. So it's just one of those things that we have to do because these software companies keep changing the game, and we have to change with them, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
And I will say I'm very happy with the Civic Plus product. They have excellent customer service. I've always been really impressed with how fast they get with you and everything, so.
And our website has definitely come a long way from where it was.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the quote with Civic Plus for the Civic Engage. Is that what we call it?
Civic Mobile, it's the Civic Mobile app, Civic Plus mobile app.
Civic Plus mobile app.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And thank you too, Melissa. We had one of our citizens out in Harry. It's always Harry's End, But when they would Google his address, it showed up in St. Louis or St. Louis County.
Yeah, and I can talk about that a little bit if you
But,
want to explain.
But Melissa's just so good.
Well, I think, a lot of times people use like Google and MapQuest and Bing Maps, and maybe they don't get their address and they think it's our data that those web applications are using, and that's not the case. Those are being pulled in from places like TomTom, and there's some other data harvesting companies that go out and harvest all this data and put it and sell it to these big companies. They're not always doing it on a regular basis. Not all the entities are, updating on a regular basis. So, this particular instance out in the Pioneer Trails area, there were several streets I actually went out and looked on Google and Bing and MapQuest that did not have, there were 3 streets that were not on their map. And there are streets that have been around for a while. So, the citizens generally don't always understand that that is not anything that we have anything to do with. We have no control over what Google and all those different things do. They just think, okay, it's GPS, it's GIS. Why isn't it right? And then they get worried that the emergency services are not going to find their house.
That was his concern.
Yeah. Now, our emergency services do not use, gosh, I hope not. No, they don't use Google. They don't use Bing. I hope none actually use it because it's just not accurate enough for emergency services. They use our authoritative local data that comes from Midmo GIS, our partnership with the city. And, so I sent them a reply email and kind of explained to them that, our data comes from our authoritative local data. That's what our emergency services uses. That's what all of the emergency services should be using on a regular basis. So it's not anything we can do anything about. Now, you can go into these different websites and they have a lot of times where you can submit corrections. So like I did go ahead and go into Google and submitted a correction, and Bing and MapQuest. I did receive an email back from MapQuest. They said that they would send it to TomTom, that it could take 6 months to a year to correct it. So, it's just the way it is. But it is hard for, I think, people to understand where that data is coming from.
That's why, I don't know if, I won't use a name because I'm not sure who was the culprit, but somebody sent a truck of, let's say, 20 tons down a bridge that had a 10-ton limit in Osage County.
Yeah.
And you can't blame the Osage County folks for that.
No.
Yeah.
But this was Friday afternoon when I got the request from our citizen, and Melissa had it right back to him, and then I called him back again, and they had gotten and it was all, and then yesterday she followed through more, so I appreciate that, because I thought that, for a Friday afternoon, I thought that was pretty quick.
I think a lot of it's just an education thing.
Yeah.
I think just people don't really understand. They see this data, it's easy to use. They want to just poke it, put in their address and get where they're going. They don't really understand what's happening in the background. And
I think this is a newer subdivision too.
yeah,
so
and I think also maybe with COVID, they're probably not doing the address gathering and stuff. That's probably, in my guess, been slowed down and stuff too. So, it is what it is. Nothing we can do.
I just wanted to thank you.
But I did send them a picture of our map that showed that we have their address.
Yeah.
Did we vote?
What?
Did we vote? I know we had the motion. Did we vote?
Yeah, we voted.
Okay,
Yes.
there's the transfer for it. I was
Okay.
making sure. I
Okay.
want to sign before we voted.
Got sidetracked.
Yes, okay. Do we have anything else?
I'm just gonna go back to that paragraph 15, because if you read till the end, it says, as they relate to the contractor's performance of the provisions of the agreement, which having a certificate of no tax and having a merchant's license have nothing, as far as I can tell, with them performing the duties of the agreement. So I just want to go back and clarify that.
Tim, do you want a quick update?
Yes,
While I'm here?
yes,
Always.
this was
So,
good.
Yeah,
It's
thankfully, yeah, this week's call
good.
yesterday with the healthcare organizations continues to be good. Our cases are still on that slight downtrend. I listened to the statewide call, and it sounds like statewide cases are still on the downtrend. Hospitalizations are still on the downtrend. Last week, Cap Region had 20 COVID patients. This week, they had 14. So went down quite a bit. SSM wasn't able to get on the call, but they did send an email saying that they were trending down as well. So very good news. Hopefully it will continue even as school starts. So
Yeah.
I know last week when we met with the schools, they had like 60 kids in quarantine, but none of it was from school exposure. It was all from household home exposure, which that's what we saw last year. There was very, very little transmission within the schools. It was household exposure because that's where you're going to have that close contact with people. So.
And so when it comes to the schools, you provide as much information and guidance as possible. They're the ones ultimately making any decisions on it. We're not
Correct.
telling them one way or
Correct.
to go.
We have no authority
one way
over
or
the
other.
schools. They're an autonomous board. So what we did all summer was developed this guideline that was like, green, this is what we propose happens in green. This is what we propose happens in yellow. This is what we propose if we red. So depending on where the community is and what's happening in your school dictates what level you're in. And then within that level, you can pick, we're not gonna have assemblies. We're gonna make the kids wear a mask in the hallways. We're not gonna allow outside visitors. We're gonna have lunch in classrooms. There's different things they can do. So with the levels that were happening in the community, we suggested they go somewhere back in the yellow range. But it was just a suggestion because we have no authority over them and we cannot tell them what to do. I said, I cannot make a recommendation as to what you do. I stated that very clearly in the meeting. I am not making a recommendation. We suggest you go somewhere in the yellow. You pick in that yellow range. We did not tell them what to do because we do not have the authority to tell them what to do. They are an autonomous board.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that nobody thought it was something that we were recommending or telling them what to do.
We
So
did
they-
not.
We're going.
They have the unfortunate circumstances
Right.
of being in that position. They have to make the decision, and they have
And-
their own
right.
people to take care of and
Ex-
have to answer to, so.
Exactly, yeah, we've got quite a few calls from parents on both sides of all the issues. And we sort of set a limit for our green as like 180 cases in the 7 days. So like, last week it was, or 2 weeks ago it was 212. This week we are down to like 155 or something like that. So technically in our community, we would be a green now. When they first started school, that's why I was like, cases are a little higher than we like, hospitalizations are a little like, so we would think the community is maybe in that yellow range, but now we're really, and Thursday I told them we're really close to green, and then after I saw the numbers, and after the Friday, it's like, yeah, our community is doing very well now.
Mhm.
I would say we're in green. So, but they're gonna have to take their school numbers into account for their level. If they're seeing a lot of, cases in their school, they might, and like we talked about, IC might be in a red. Bel Air could still be in green because IC could be having a little spike. Bel Air doesn't have any cases. So we want the schools to decide what's going on and what's best for their individual school. We can't tell them what to do. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that just because Bel Air's having a spike, IC should shut down. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, Eugene School District, their board decided not to do mask at all.
Mhm.
So again,
It's parents' choice.
It's kind of the school boards that make the decision.
Correct.
In Osage County and yesterday, I think the health department had encouraged masks, and Fatima listened to their parents. They had a meeting and the parents spoke, and they're not doing masks. Chamois not doing masks. So it's kind of arbitrary, but
And there's other, and I know it becomes a mask and not mask issue, but there's so many other things that they can do, and those are built into our plan, and those recommendations are there. And then when you do the contact investigation, you look at a lot of things, not just whether or not they're wearing masks. So I hate that it comes down to just that issue because there's so many other things. But anyway, I'm very pleased that the levels are, and I think that people also need to realize that COVID is not going away, and it's going to wax and wane, and we're going to have outbreaks, and it's going to go back down again, even if everyone gets vaccinated, because we know, the other day we got 22 cases in, and 10 of them were vaccinated folks. We're getting plenty of breakthrough cases. There's breakthrough cases in the hospital. We've had breakthrough cases pass away, unfortunately. the vaccine is not 100% when you're dealing with a vaccine for a virus like this. So we could talk about that forever. But, I mean, the point is, we're going to have, it's going to wax and wane, and we just need to do the best we can and live our life.
I don't know if you said it here or some other place that this term sewer shed.
Right.
Okay, the sewer shed is not showing the original. It's showing
I
the
just got
variant
data
or not.
last night, and still 100% of the samples they're taking out of the sewer shed are the Delta variant.
So one could surmise that the original is behind us.
That most of it's Delta variant. There's
So
very
next one's
interesting
Lambda, right?
No, Delta. Yeah, the next one's.
I mean,
supposedly- yeah,
after
and
Delta
they-
is-
yeah,
yeah.
it's not showing up. I don't know. There's some very interesting articles out of like Israel and the UK about natural immunity for the Delta variant versus like the vaccine, and anyway, pretty interesting stuff. I think they're a little ahead of the curve on that than us. Like it's been there a little bit longer, so it's interesting to see what's going on in those other countries. I try to read as much as I can. And we
That's
still have a
good. I
nurse
was
physician
very
open,
pleased
you know?
yesterday with the.
I was too.
I
very
was
happy.
too, that just because
Oh, and then
let's-
also, we had shared on Facebook, a doctor in Macon County put together a really nice list of like supplements that you should take all the time and supplements you should take like if you're diagnosed with COVID, because as we know, there's no approved treatment. So, you know, it was a very nice list, and we shared it on Facebook, I think 2 Fridays ago, and then we gave it to our local physicians. And the 4 of them are working together to sort of put together something that they would endorse on a local level. Because, you know, some people here might think, well, that's a doctor at Macon County, I don't really trust them. But it's something, you know, somebody from Community Health Center, JCMG, Cap Region, and St. Mary's are working collectively on a list of supplements and vitamins that they would endorse that there's research showing the help, because you know vitamin D deficiency is huge with suffering more severe illness with COVID. So things like that. So I hopefully they'll have that out this week.
And this will be a letter people who come in and get tested,
We
they
could
can,
share.
you give it to them, so at least it tells them what they can do, what they should do.
You noted one open position?
We do. We still have a nurse position. We're having a really hard time getting that position filled. Just not a lot of applicants, and a lot of the applicants, when they hear the salary, then they choose not to interview. So we're struggling with that.
You still have the option of doing the pay and DDAT. It's not cheap, but we got really good results. We pay on the emergency director, or emergency management.
We did. So did you like boost the post? We didn't put it out on Indeed, but you did like a paid ad.
We can do it.
Okay, and it's just different than doing the regular. Okay, we might consider doing that.
Yeah, we got like 66 apps, or do we end up with more than?
66 on the emergency.
Yeah, so that's pretty
is
good.
really good.
Point search, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. The only other thing I've got, and I'm gonna give these to Bill and maybe send them out to our first responders. Again, the Patriots Day, which is this Sunday, but you have to have tickets, and it's for law enforcement officers, firefighters, emergency medical responders, spouses, and children. And then the Women's Council of Realtors is having a 911 Memorial Barbecue on September 8th. And again, this is to honor all of our first responders. So if you can maybe send those
We can get it out.
to all of our, it's,
So is that anything to do with the Missouri Patriot Day next Friday?
no,
They're 2 total different
yeah,
things?
that's 2 different. yeah.
Okay, so then next Friday, then they got the Missouri Patriot Day, and that kicks off the
At 7
September 11th.
Yeah, September 10th. It's gonna be really, I think
It's a 2-day event. It's
Our-
a Friday, Saturday event.
the speaker is the last firefighter they pulled out
Alive.
after,
He's the guest speaker, right?
yes, so, and then they're gonna read all the names so it's gonna be a very solemn, okay.
Is that Friday night, or is that?
That's Friday night at 7 p.m. So, yeah, I'm gonna go to that as opposed to the Chambers of the Annanites. Anything
I
else?
got, so, Which chamber got that Friday? They got Friday.
They've got that
coffee.
Havana Nights at Canterbury.
Oh, their gala thing?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So they
So
got the fall extension, Cole County Extension
on the
Fall
11th.
Festival on the 11th too,
Yeah.
which, there's a lot going on that weekend.
Yeah,
so.
it is. Because the parade's at noon. There's a 5K. Yeah.
That's for the Patriot Day, right?
Patriot
And
Day,
then
yes.
when is the one for the 200th birthday? That parade
That's
too.
September 18th, the week after. And we're all gonna try to ride in that.
I'll do a .5K with you.
No, we're not, no, we have a float in the parade. And so you need,
Gotcha.
I'm gonna do you
We're gonna do some tuxes.
some vests. I'm gonna wear blue vest and, yeah, I'll make you guys
They
look
won't
good.
recognize me.
Okay, anything else?
Thanks.
You wanna
Not
make a
till
motion
later
to
on.
Stand in recess till 1, Mr. Harry?
A motion to stand in recess until 1 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sam, was these emailed to you or somebody as a flyer?
Yeah, and no, I didn't send it. I sent them this, that one I got in the mail from,
Nancy Grasky did that, but
and that one I got in the mail, so I can forward it.
that's all right, I'll just copy the
Yeah.
scan, email them.
They
The
didn't go into closed session, they
Operation
just,
Bugle Boy I got in the mail from.
they'll have to reopen the session, because they're
deal.
recessed till
We
1.
Dawn? Yes, I turn it on.
See you all later.
Hey, Bill.
You're gonna have to reopen to go into closed session. Okay.
Yes, 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 yes.